Hello, America. This is Call of Duty Goddess. Today is March the 5th, 2016. I have an interview on Dennis Michael Lynch, Unfiltered from Newsmax TV with Carol Bundy. Let's have a listen to that.
Welcome back. Yesterday, Mel Bundy and David Bundy were the next two arrests made by the FBI, and they were arrested on a list of charges from events that took place in 2014. Joining me now to talk about this and more is Carol Bundy. Carol, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Dennis.
Carol, I guess the first question everybody would like to know is, you have four sons now in jail, Ammon, Ryan, David, and Mel.
Yes.
And you have your husband in jail, Cliven. How are you holding up?
My husband was a smart man, and he raised some smart sons, and they've all married very strong women that believe in this cause and believe in freedom for America, and we're hanging in there.
Carol, the charges against Cliven and the boys are pretty intense, and they could serve multiple years in prison. There's also a lot of fines that come with this. If the government is successful and they get what they want, how are you going to be able to continue with your ranch out there in Nevada?
Well, you know, Dennis, we've always felt that freedom isn't free, and we were willing to do whatever it takes to keep our way of life alive and to keep America free. We will survive. Us women can do the work. We'll just take our babies on our hips, and we'll bring in the cows, and we'll bale the hay, and we'll get it done.
I'm amazed by how positive you sound, and I'm sure there were a couple of people here, Carol, who were listening, who were saying, you know what, she's putting forward a pretty tough front, but how are they going to do it? And then you take into effect the Fox News just had an article the other day. It's what made me reach out to you. There are claims that you and your family and your ranch hands, actually they say that you don't really hire any ranch hands, that you are abusing the cattle that you own, that you're just letting them roam around, you're not taking care of them the right way, half of them aren't branded correctly. Is this true or is this false?
It's false. First off, most people that make those remarks are not familiar with the Western cowboy and how they ranch. And we also have a unique situation where we do ranch. Our cattle run out on the state public land year-round, and we go out and check them, make sure they have water, make sure they're healthy. And, you know, when you have 14 kids and all the grandkids, we don't need to hire hired hands. We have enough to handle that with our family, within our family. People need to understand that I have the right to use that land for my cattle. I am not stopping anybody else from using that land. I am not abusing my cattle. I am out there every day checking them, making sure they're healthy, making sure their babies are healthy. If there is one that's sick, we take care of that. And I would like to invite anybody to come to Nevada federal land and come see my cattle. They're looking pretty good this year. They got little baby calves on them. We got green grass growing, and we're going to provide some good hamburger and steaks for America.
I tell you, you're one brave lady. I have about a minute and a half left. I want you to explain to people why it is that you believe that the Bureau of Land Management has it out for you, because that's what I've been told before, that they have it out for you. Do you think at the end of the day it's that they're trying to run you off that ranch? Because as of right now, you are the last rancher standing in that part of Nevada, are you not?
Yes, we are, and I do think they have an out for us. And then after our standoff in 2014, we embarrassed them terribly, and so they are out to show us kind of who's boss. They need to realize that we're not the radical ones. The federal government has taken over every part of everybody's lives. They've taken over our education. They've taken over our health and welfare. They've come in and told us how we can run our ranch, and they are only the BLM management. They don't have ownership of these lands, and we just told them, we no longer need your services. We will manage our own ranch, our own way.
So you do believe that the FBI and the BLM and the government agencies who are against, so to say, the Bundys, you do believe that some of this, what's going on, that the fact that they're going back and making these charges from 2014, you believe that this is because they're pissed off that you made them look somewhat silly, that they had to back down?
Yes, I believe that. And I've also, if we, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to blow whatever court cases we have, but I do think that we embarrassed them. I do think that...
Carol, hold on for a second. I'm going to hold you over to our next block, and I'll let you finish that statement.
Thank you.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. On the phone with me is Carol Bundy. We kept her over from the last block. She was saying something about, Carol, I had brought up to you the fact that, the BLM and the FBI and all the different law enforcement that were there, they felt sort of silly that day because they had to back down. That's the sort of notion that many people believe is the case. I was asking if you thought that was true, and you were saying...
I was saying that, yes, I think it is true, and I think by their actions today, they're trying to put the fear into the American people and make the American people afraid of our own government, and that is sad. What is America coming to?
Carol, let me say this. A couple of months back, I was subpoenaed by the FBI. I had to hand over all of my footage from that day. And for the viewers who don't know this, that's how I met the Bundys. I was, at the time, I was doing stuff with the Kelly File over at Fox News. They asked me to go out and shoot this thing that was taking place in Nevada. I had no idea about it. I'd never met the Bundys, never met any of the people that were there. I went out there, and before I knew it, I had M16s in my face. But I had met most of the Bundy boys. I never met Cliven, by the way, that day. I've never met Cliven ever. But I met Mel, I met Ammon, I spent all my whole time with Ammon, I met Dave, I met Ryan. Never once did I ever see them act out. Never once did I see them pull a gun out or show any signs of aggression whatsoever. So my hope is that those tapes will actually help your cause, Carol.
I hope so. And, during that standoff, they quoted me as saying something that still goes today. My family nor I have ever pointed a gun at anybody, but we sure had a lot of them pointed at us.
I can attest to the fact that you're not lying about that one. There were some times when I still feel like I've got them pointed at myself. Carol, yeah. I want to say thank you so much. I'll have you back on the show. Please keep me up to date on what's taking place. I want to thank you so much for being here with me. I got 10 seconds left with you. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
You bring it home. Teach your kids the Constitution. Teach your family the Constitution. Elect good sheriffs. Bring freedom back to America.
Thanks so much, Carol. I appreciate it in a big way.
Thank you, and thanks for all the prayers people are offering us. Thank you.
You got it. All right, so that's tonight's show.
Okay, I got to put my 2 cents in here. I can attest to what Carol Bundy's saying about not having ranch hands. As a person that's lived in a suburb area all my life, I was born and raised in a suburb area on the East Coast. My dad was a farmer type guy, and he was out of his nature, so to speak, living in the suburbs. My dad always had horses. He had to have horses, no matter where we lived, and we lived in the same house for 30, my mom still lives in that house on the East Coast since I was 6 months old, so for 40 some odd years in a suburb area. And my dad made a way that we always had horses, so he would keep our horses that we had on a dairy farm about an hour, 2 hours away from our home, so we could ride horses on the weekends. Well, in trade, I had 3 brothers and sisters, so one of us would go 2 weeks out of the summer at a time to help out with the dairy farm, because this man had girls and never ever hired a ranch hand at all. Had over 400 head of cattle on this dairy farm. And I would go help 2 weeks out of the summer. Like I said, I can attest to that. That's something that farmers, at least what I've been in contact with, that's not something that they normally do, is hire ranch hands, especially this man that had over 400 head of cattle and had 6 girls. Anyway, that's my 2 cents in. I also seem to remember doing a video that said that the FBI and the Obama administration in particular was pissed and that they were going to do something in retaliation because the militia won at the Bundy standoff, the militia won at all of these mines that there was a standoff in Sugar Pine Mine. I think it was another mine, I'm not sure. But I remember doing a video, I just looked for it and I can't remember exactly what it was. I've done so many videos on this. But anyway, just a little update from Carol Bundy. This is Call of Duty Goddess signing off, and as always, I've got your six.